morning and welcome to my kitchen. Now, I have got such a delicious recipe for you today. This is our one pot roast chicken dish. It's delicious, it's super quick and easy midweek. It's delicious at the weekend. You have got to try it. So, I'm going to use the big cast aluminium masterclass pan. This is the big boy. This is the one for family meals, okay? So, I'm just going to put that to one side. Now, the ingredients are a little bit different from what you might imagine. We're actually going to start, shall I pop that on there, Emily? Can you see that all right? Okay. We're going to start with some balsamic vinegar in the bottom, all right? This is going to give us colour, it's going to give us flavour, and it's going to give us acidity. Really good. Okay? Got some brown sugar. Now, if you want the recipe for this, scan the QR code on the bottom or go to masterclass.co and you'll get it there. So the balsamic vinegar and the sugar are going to bubble away at the bottom and they're just going to create this lovely tangy syrup. It's going to be so good.
Is there any certain sugars that you should avoid? Or?
No, not really. I mean, brown sugar, that's my chicken stock in there as well with my stock cube. No, it's just really to make the vinegar syrupy and delicious. It just makes it even better. So just pop that to one side. So, in with the garlic. For me, one full bulb, all right? Cut it about a third of the way down. And what happens? Can I show you that, Emily?
Yeah.
The whole thing stays together. It doesn't break up and disappear. And what's going to happen during the cooking process is this is going to caramelize and become really sweet and indulgent and just give real depth to the dish, okay? So don't be afraid of a full bulb. Turn it face down and leave that in there. Now, these wrinkly little things are proper dried, sun-dried tomatoes, okay? So not like your lovely, delicious, sweet sun-blushed tomatoes. These are full-on, dried out things. But what they do is they soak up and absorb all the juices and the flavours during the cooking process. And you get these like really lovely, tangy tomato bits as you go along. You tried them today, didn't you? First time.
Yeah.
They work really well. They're a little bit from 1992. They're a bit of a blast from the past. We don't use them masses.
How specific.
Yeah. Do you not remember an episode in Friends when they talk about sun-dried tomatoes? Monica and somebody, and Chandler goes, well, actually, I quite like sun-dried tomatoes, and they mock him because it's a bit old 90s. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I digress. So, 90 grams, actually, very specific, of dried, sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, so, chicken. So, breast side down. So, if I do this and then you can see, can't you?
Yeah,
we're going to turn it upside down. All right? And we're going to cook it for an hour in the oven first. Then we're going to turn the chicken over, take the lid off, and let everything caramelize up, because by then, all the heat will have cooked the chicken through and it's now just about getting the colour on it. So, upside down. Just wash my hands. Right. Okay, so let's pop that. Shall I pop that there? Is that all right, Emily?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, bulb of fennel. One of my favourite vegetables. Got a very sort of fresh aniseed flavour to it. It works so well with tomatoes and chicken and all those good things. So just cut it in half. And then cut each half into thirds. It's a shame my son isn't here for a fractions lesson. Pop them in around the chicken. Hello, Pip. I thought I might see you here today, cooking chicken. Those big brown eyes, they're on me. Right, okay, and then I've got white onion, okay? And again, can you see where the way I've peeled it, I've left the core on there, okay? That's so everything kind of holds together. So we're cutting each half into 3 again.
Could you use red onion for this?
Yeah, of course, if you've got red onion, yeah. Red onions are sweeter and they're milder, so there isn't as much oomph in them. And this is going to kind of cook all together. So, you know, don't buy red onions for the sake of it. You know, white onions are cheaper and they do the job. You want that depth of flavour in there, really. So, right, I'm going to put a few bay in there because that's what's left in the garden and it'll just give a nice depth of flavour. And then my potatoes, I'm literally just going to cut them in half. If they're a big one, I'll cut them into 3. But it's quite important that you get them all about the same size because you need them to cook together consistently all at the same time. So it is quite important to cut them the same size.
What type of potato are you using?
Maris Piper, this one. Just a good all-rounder, I would say. Particularly in the UK anyway. I mean, there's different potatoes all over the world. And we have been getting some amazing viewing numbers recently. So for all of you out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. It is massively appreciated. I think past 2 episodes, we've hit about 30,000 views. So we're well happy. So thank you very much. Right, in with the potatoes. Now, if I put this up here, can you see this all right, Emily?
I can.
Yep, right. Let's hit it with a bit of olive oil. Okay, drizzle some olive oil over. Make sure the potatoes get a bit on there as well. So what's going to happen is the bottom of the pan is going to steam, get really hot, push up through the potatoes. The potatoes and the chicken are going to cook. The fennel will soften, the onions, the garlic, everything underneath this layer of potatoes is going to kind of be soft and braised, whereas the potatoes are going to roast, okay? So we'll season them up with a bit of salt. This is a good comfort autumn dish, this. This is what you want at this time of year. We're in November now.
Not much washing up.
No. Not that that would affect you, Emily, too much.
Aye.
Okay, so, right. There we go. Lid on. This is going in the oven, 180 degrees for an hour, okay? Then take the lid off, remove it from the oven, take the lid off and carefully lift the chicken out, turn it over so that it's breast side up, and then pop it back in the oven without the lid, okay? For another 20-25 minutes. When the potatoes and the chicken skin on the top are golden and crisp, it is ready to go. Right. While the chicken is in the oven, okay, I thought I would show you how to make some really nice little apple and cinnamon scones. This is a bit of a collaboration from me and Emily. We sat in the office yesterday trying to work out what we were going to do this week, and it was all sort of very comforting and warming, and it's like dark when we leave. Well, dark when Emily leaves to go home. I live here, so I don't leave. And it just everything wants to be warm and comforting, really. So I thought we'd make some really lovely, fresh British scones, okay? But we're going to do them a little bit different. We're going to use brown sugar in these. And we're going to make them with apple and cinnamon. So I've got my self-raising flour. I have got 500 grams of self-raising flour, and I've got 250 grams, 250? No, I haven't. 125 grams of butter, all right? All I'm going to do is just rub the butter and the flour into each other, just to make a really nice sort of crumbly texture. And this is the base for all scones, okay? I think they call them biscuits in America. I don't know why, but they do. Somebody needs to explain that one to me. So once you've got that sort of crumbly texture, okay, we're then just going to add a little bit of brown sugar. Now, the only reason why I'm adding brown is because I think there's going to be more caramelly flavour, which will work really well with the apples, okay? So in with my sugar. Oh, my hands are too big for this jar. There we go. Yeah, right. Okay, so now I can run my hands through. Now, a little tip for you. If you don't want to make the full batch, you could take half of this mixture out, put it into a container and put it in the fridge until you want the rest of the scones, okay? So it's quite versatile, which is really handy. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to one side because we're going to deal with the apples now. Okay, so I'll wash my hands. So I've got a pan, non-stick pan, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so I'm not even going to peel mine. Turn the apple, I've done half there. Turn it quarter of the way. And again. And again. So basically, you're just grating off each quarter. Much to Pip's disgust, that is not a lot left, is there?
No.
Here you go.
Hey.
She loves an apple core, that dog. Loves an apple core, don't you? Hey? Right, only one though. I'll throw the other one to Emily.
I like a good break burn, me.
I know. So what we're doing is we're grating the apple, okay? Now, you have to remember, apple has a lot of juice in it, okay? So when I squeeze this, if all that went into my scone mixture, they're not going to rise very well because it's acidic, okay? So what we've got to do is squeeze out as much as we can and then put that into the mixture, okay? And then the same again with the last bit. But don't throw the apple juice out because we're going to make something with it to go with our scones, okay? So, there we go. Right, I'm just going to pop that on there for a minute. Now we've got rid of lots of the moisture. We're just left with that nice appley flavour in there. Mix it through. Get it nice and evenly distributed. Okay, and then make a well in the middle. All right? And then we're going to go in with large egg, free range, room temperature. I've got a little bit of cinnamon, not a lot, just works really well with apple. Okay, and then some milk. I'm just going to add half the milk to begin with. Really important. You can always add a bit more. Can't take it away. All right?
Is there any other fruit that would work in a
You could use pear. I mean, I do blueberry scones, raspberry scones. Blueberry scones work really well with fresh. Raspberries work better with frozen because they kind of break them up into little pellets, you know, as they break up. Otherwise, you end up with like big squidgy bits of fruit in there and it doesn't really quite work. But yeah, you could use, you know, apples and pears work really well. Plums have got a bit too much moisture in. Yeah. But there are so many different dried fruits as well that you can use. You know, dried plums, which are prunes, you could use those. You know, if you wanted to do mango, you'd probably use dried mango. You could reconstitute them a little bit if you wanted to, if they're a bit too dry. So all I'm going to do is I've actually added all the milk. You never quite know whether you're going to need it all. It's important that you get the right texture rather than a very precise measurement. We've put a guide on the recipe for you, but you're really looking for that kind of texture, okay? And then we'll add a little bit of flour and then we'll start to just bring it together. It's really important that you don't sort of beat the life out of it, okay? We want to be gentle with it and just bring it together as a nice sort of firm dough that's holding its shape. And we're going to bake, we're going to bake these at a really good high heat so we get a nice lift.
Would you ever use a rolling pin? Never
use a rolling pin for scones because I'm rolling all the air out. So what I'm doing is when I'm shaping it, I'm pushing it down and in. So it's like that. So we're kind of compacting it and compressing the dough, but keeping it nice and pert. Yeah? This is one of the first recipes I learnt to make at school. At Walgate School, many, many years ago, near York, where I grew up, and I learnt to make scones. And this is how we did them. They haven't really changed much.
What would you say your favourite flavour was?
Cheese scones. Bit of mustard in there, maybe. Oh,
toasted?
Yeah.
Toasted?
Toasted cheese scone with more cheese. Right, let me get a baking tray. Let's get a good cutter out, okay? What should we go for? Maybe. Ooh.
So many choices.
Hey?
So many choices.
I know. Too big. Too big. Just right, I think. Okay, so straight down, okay? It's really important because when you get a nice clean cut on the scone, when it goes in the oven, you get a nice lift. If you start twisting it, when it tries to go into when it tries to bake, it's kind of like all wavy and it's going all over the place. So try and get a really nice, clean, straight cut. And then just put a bit of flour on your cutter and do the same again, like that. Okay? Probably get away with another one, yeah. There we go. Bit more flour just in case. Now the first cut of scones is always the best. The second time when you roll it out, not as good. Not as good. But
they look like they're going to be good scones then.
Well, you know, not my first rodeo this. Right, let's just get that last one done there. So I've got 6 good ones. And then these will just be okay. They won't be great, but they'll be all right.
Edible with a cover, that's what I say.
They'll probably be the ones that Emily and I eat. And those will be the ones that we photograph for you. But it's important as well that you work quite quickly, because the baking powder that you get in self-raising flour is already reacting now as we speak. So we need to be quite quick. All right. And there we go. So I've got 8 lovely scones out of that recipe there. Now, I'm not going to egg wash these.
What?
All right? I'm not.
Why?
I don't think they need it. They'll go lovely and golden, all right? But what I am going to do is put a tiny little bit of brown sugar on the top. Let that kind of melt on there. And you get that sort of caramelly, appley flavour running all the way through. Okay? So, 200 degrees the oven, nice and hot, okay? Really important. In they go. Good luck. Right, let's get cleared up and we'll make something to go on top of those lovely scones. Okay, so the scones are in the oven, just rising beautifully actually. Hopefully you can just about see those. The apple juice that came out of the grated apple I've got here, okay? I'm just going to bring it up to the boiler. I'm going to boil it down to a syrup. I want a caramel syrup to add to some butter and icing sugar. So this is kind of like, it's like butter icing really. So room temperature butter, some icing sugar, and then I'm just going to beat them together, okay? As you would make a normal butter icing. But what will change is we just, there we go, is that all right? So slow speed to begin with. There we go. It's kind of a little bit like brandy butter. You know when you have that, or rum butter at Christmas? You have rum butter up here, don't you, in Cumbria? Because of the Whitehaven rum and everything. So it's a little bit like having a bit of rum butter, but it's going to be caramel, apple and cinnamon butter. Sounds good, doesn't it? That's better than just a bit of flora, isn't it? Sorry, Unilever. Right. So can you see the apple? Yeah? It's reduced right down to nearly nothing. All right, and the warmth of that is just going to bring the butter icing together. And then what we're going to do is get a little bit of cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon, don't worry about it. Don't add it. Okay, but I just think a little touch. Not like primary flavour, secondary. Yeah, like literally a subtle little bit. There we go. That'll do me. Now, if you've got any questions about today's recipes, please do post them in the comments below. I will be all over them like a rash, I promise. And if you want the recipes, please do scan the QR code on the bottom. It'll take you to the website, which is masterclass.co, which is where we put all our recipes. We're now on episode 50, Emily.
Are we?
This is episode 50. Yep.
That's exciting.
So, we've now got our caramel apple butter. Sounds good, that, doesn't it? Just saying that sounds good. Okay.
I'll have one with a couple later.
Yeah. I think people all around the globe are going to be making apple scones with apple butter. Nice. Okay, so we'll put that to one side. Now, I'm going to get the chicken out of the oven, okay, and we'll have a look at that because it's going to be ready. Right, it smells absolutely amazing. Now, full honesty here, I've made 2, okay? So I've made 1 because I wanted to share how it was going to cook. I've got quite a few people for dinner tonight, actually. So I've made 2. I made 1 an hour ago, and this is it, okay? It smells amazing. Now, what I would say is when it comes out of the oven, put it straight into the hob and reduce the liquid down. Turn it from juices to gravy, all right? But let me get a chopping board, and we can lift this out, and you can have a good look at it. Smells good, this, doesn't it? Yeah? Right, so let's pop that there. But you can you see all the veggies? Shall I put it on here for you? Is that better?
Yeah.
So you can see, look, the potatoes have roasted up, the tomatoes have swollen, and they've absorbed all the juices and the flavour. And then there's some fennel in there. Now, ooh, let me get this bit out. This is something you shouldn't forget. Look, can you see that, Emily?
1 second, a little bit like, yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Do you know what you need to do with that? Apart from take it next door to Kerry, squeeze it. Look at that. Can you see that? That's the secret little gem of flavour. Now, you can't get that hit of flavour without putting a whole bulb of garlic in. All right? Kerry's twitching now from across the road, as I can tell. There you go. But that will give you all the extra flavour in there. But the whole chicken will come out. Look, if I just lift that and show you, look, you can lift the whole chicken out, serve it up. You've got potatoes, you've got vegetables, you've got gravy, you've got everything in there ready to go. What is not to love about that? So much so, I think I'm going to have to try a bit. The potatoes have absorbed all the flavour in there. And the tomatoes, oh my goodness. Emily, you've got to try one of these tomatoes. I actually think the tomatoes are the best bit. Oh my goodness. You're not on a hot date tonight, are you?
No, it's all right.
Right, I'll put a bit of garlic with it as well. Try that. Oh my goodness, that is good. That is good. Right.
Yeah.
So look, you can see, look at all the gravy on that, Emily. Just spoon some of that out and spoon it over the top of the chicken. I mean, you've got your potatoes, you've got your vegetables, you've got your gravy and the chicken. Everything is in there. When you put this down in the middle of the table for the family to tuck in, they're going to be very happy bunnies. Now, scones must be ready by now. They've cooked at a nice high heat. 200 degrees, so they're baked and lovely and light and fluffy. So if I pop those on there, and I'll just carefully, try not to burn myself, lift those onto there. They smell like apple pie. These are good. These are good. Right, let me just get a last couple onto there. I've got a joiner next door building some new cupboards, so I'm pretty sure he's going to like his afternoon tea today. Right, let's pop that on there. And then we've got our caramelised apple butter. I feel like we ought to crack one of these bad boys open.
Yeah, if you put it down on the chopping board in front of the chicken plate, we'll be
What, near you, so you can grab it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go, look
Yeah,
at that.
Put a little bit of that butter on.
Yeah.
Even I would take a little bit of extra butter on a scone.
Would you?
Yeah. And you know what I'm like with my butter.
There you go.
Oh.
Try that one. See what you think. There'll be some strange noises in a minute. It'll be Emily.
People just need a little bit of me, it's okay.
But spread it on. Oh, look at that. It's not butter, it's icing.
Yeah. I did starting to... Oh, delicious.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it just smells lovely.
Look, I hope you've enjoyed the programme. I've quite enjoyed it today. I've eaten well today. I'm going to go and serve this up to the family. But thank you very much for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed the show as well. If you want the recipes, please scan the QR code on the bottom. It'll take you to masterclass.co website. There are sponsors. They help us make this programme every week. Please share the programme with all your friends. We are getting massive views at the moment, which is amazing. So thank you very much. But we'd love a few more. So please share it with your friends, of your family, or your work colleagues. Let them know what kind of a program we're doing and what amazing recipes we're creating. But thank you very much, and I will see you next time.